The Bible wasn't written by one person at one time. It's a library written over 1,500 years by about 40 different authors across 3 continents. It begins around 1400 BC with Moses, traditionally credited with the first 5 books, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. These were written during Israel's wandering after leaving Egypt, laying down their law, origins, and covenant with God. Moses was a Hebrew raised in Pharaoh's court, so he straddled Egyptian culture and Israelite identity. Over the next 400 years, as Israel settled into the land, the history books were recorded. Joshua likely wrote his own book after Moses died. Judges, Ruth, and Samuel were compiled by prophets and scribes living through those chaotic early kingdom years, roughly 1200 to 1000 BC. Then comes the Golden Age around 1000 BC. King David, a shepherd-turned-warrior king, wrote many of the Psalms as personal prayers and national worship songs. His son Solomon, known for wisdom, is credited with Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Solomon. This was Israel's peak, stable, literate, wealthy. But the kingdom split, and prophets rose from 800 to 400 BC. Men like Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel wrote during times of crisis. Isaiah warned Jerusalem as Assyria destroyed the northern kingdom. Jeremiah wept as Babylon burned the temple in 586 BC. Ezekiel wrote from exile in Babylon. 12 shorter, minor prophets, like Amos, Hosea, and Malachi spoke to Israel and Judah across those same centuries. Their books read like street sermons and courtroom charges, calling the nation back to its covenant. After exile, around 500 to 400 BC, leaders like Ezra the priest and Nehemiah the governor recorded the rebuilding of Jerusalem. Chronicles retells Israel's history from a priestly view. Malachi closes the Old Testament, then silence for 400 years. That's why there's a gap between the testaments. The world changed. The New Testament explodes into that Roman world in just 50 years, from operator 45 AD to 95 AD. It's all written in Greek, the common language of the empire. James, Jesus' brother, and Paul, a former Pharisee, write the earliest letters in the 40s and 50s AD. Paul's 13 letters to churches like Corinth, Rome, and Ephesus deal with real problems as Christianity spread across the empire. The Gospels come next, 60 to 85 AD. Mark wrote first, likely Peter's eyewitness account, short and fast-paced for Romans. Matthew, a tax collector, wrote for Jews and quotes the Old Testament constantly. Luke, a physician and historian, interviewed eyewitnesses and wrote both Luke and Acts as a 2-part history. John, the last living apostle, wrote his gospel and 3 letters in the 80s or 90s AD, with a very different, reflective style. The final book, Revelation, closes the Bible around 95 AD. John wrote it while exiled on the island of Patmos by the Roman emperor. It's apocalyptic, full of symbols and visions about God's final victory. So the spread looks like this. It starts with a Hebrew exile in a desert, runs through kings and poets and prophets in Israel, pauses for 400 years, then finishes with fishermen, a doctor, and a rabbi writing letters and histories under Roman rule. No other religious text was composed over that length of time by that many walks of life, yet it tells one connected story from creation in Genesis to new creation in Revelation.
GodNews. Subscribe to this channel for more prayers and messages.